This is not how I originally intended and indeed recorded the introduction to this week's Table Talk. After I recorded Table Talk on Wednesday, events happened which are really sad. So many of you that have been subscribed to this channel for a long time will remember Peter Holroyd, Scale Modelling. We did a buddy build of sorts of the Queen Mary 2. We agreed to build it together. He was going to do lighting in his, which was the first time he'd ever done lighting. And we talked a lot about hints and tips and how to build it. And then he sort of raced off and did it. But leading up to that, Peter and I sort of started our channels at a similar time, and we used to talk in the background quite a bit. And he was also new to modelling, not just to having a YouTube channel. And we did quite a lot of conversations, and in those early stages of his channel, you know, we talked quite a lot. I used to promote his channel. He was always on the Friday builds on the live chat, and a really nice guy. And we'd not been in contact quite so much since he moved to Thailand. He'd become really busy with things, and the time difference became more of an issue, and one way or another we didn't talk as much as we had done. I think probably it's been a couple of months since I'd last spoken to him. But unfortunately, this week he's passed away with a heart attack about a week after a road collision where he came off his scooter or bike. I'm not sure which one it was. I know he'd broken his collarbone and fractured several ribs, and there we go. So a sad start to this week, to this week's Table Talk. He will be greatly missed. So I'm dedicating this video to Peter, because I know he enjoyed the channel, he enjoyed making his content. And the next build that we start from scratch, we will dedicate to Peter as well. Okay. There we go. Let's get on with Table Talk. Hello, welcome to this week's Table Talk. If you're a new subscriber, a massive welcome. This is the part of the week where we talk about what's going on, what's happened, what's coming up, all of that sort of stuff. You get some sneak previews of progress way before you see them in build videos. And if you're a long-term subscriber or a member, a very special warm welcome back to you guys as well. It's always good to see you. And this is a big part of people's Saturdays now. I've been doing Table Talk for 3 years, believe it or not. So we're sort of 4.5 years into the channel, 3 years of Table Talk, and this is a part of people's routine. I get messages every week to say, right, the weekend can begin, or right, got me a cup of coffee, we can go. And it is definitely part of people's routine. It's part of my routine as well. And I thought you might be interested to know what my Saturday routine is like, because you've all been sharing yours. So, you know, from Australia to America, to, across Europe and the length and breadth of the UK, people are starting their Saturday with Table Talk. It's amazing. There are people that actually watch Table Talk nearly a week later as well. I'm getting comments sometimes on like a Friday evening for the table talk that's just gone. So you know, some people are catching up with it later in the week. Me, I watch it on Saturday. Yeah, I watch it as well. So my Saturday routine, well, getting up, that's down to my body clock. As it's getting lighter in the mornings, that's tending to get a bit earlier. And as we get into the summer, it's going to be around 5, half 5. And there's nothing I can do about it. I've tried. I'm not very good at the rolling over and going back to sleep thing. There's a little something in my brain going, you can get some extra model time in now. And I just end up getting up. So I try and go to bed a little bit earlier in the summer, which can be problematic if other people in the house aren't doing that. Just so that I'm still getting a decent amount of sleep. At the weekend, I will try and stay in a bit later if I can, but generally on a Saturday, you're gonna see me getting up around about 6ish, half 6, something like that. If for some reason I'm slightly under the weather or I'm tired or something like that, it might be pushing 7, but it's rare. So 6 o'clock-ish, I'm up, I'm about. First thing I do is make a cup of tea. Not ordinary tea, I don't drink ordinary tea, I drink herbal tea. Many years ago, when I was first diagnosed with IBS, I was told to stop drinking milk. Well, actually, that's not quite true. I was told to follow the FODMAP diet, which is you take pretty much everything but air out of your diet, and then you slowly incorporate it and see which ones are triggers. But there's all sorts of shortcomings to that approach, and it's only supposed to be temporary, and you don't really learn much from it. But for quite some time, I'm not a big fan of milk. I don't like the taste of milk. But because I wasn't having milk, I couldn't drink tea black. So I changed to herbal tea, and I've just stuck with that habit. So a chamomile tea or Tesco's sleep tea, I really quite like. Doesn't make me sleep. So that's my first thing. It's a cup of tea. Then I'll get to the desk. Now, on a Friday night, we've had the build go up, and I've usually done a little bit of something, and I go to bed with the table ready to carry on doing some modelling. So whatever I'm choosing to do on that Saturday will be on the table ready to go. So I can sit down with my mug and we're off. So if my next job was to do some painting, it'll be all set up ready to go. I can just crack on with it. So that is what I'll do. My Saturday morning starts with a bit of modelling. Sometimes I might do a bit of video editing first. So if I'm feeling a little bit behind, I might just pop a video edit together, get that uploading, and then start modelling. At 8 o'clock, I will go onto my channel and watch Table Talk. Partly because I record this on a Wednesday. It's about 4:30 Wednesday. I've finished work and recording this straight after work. And by Saturday, I can't remember what I've said. So I tend to listen to it, and people's comments can pop up whilst I'm watching. So those people that catch it around about the time it goes out at 8 o'clock will have noticed that they get an answer fairly quickly to the comments. That's because I'm actually online. So I'll have it playing on my screen. Usually plays on this screen, which isn't my computer screen, it's my secondary screen. And then while I'm modelling, because I'll probably have instructions or something like that up on that screen. So most of my instructions these days, I'm using the digital versions if I've got them. If I haven't and I'm using paper copies, they'll be on a music stand, which is just sort of here out of shot for you, but it's easy to glance to. So that's my Saturday, and that'll take me up to about 11 o'clock, 11:30, something like that, when on a Saturday we then pack that up, start thinking about getting ready for lunch, what people are going to want for lunch, and then housework or whatever we're doing. So this Saturday, this afternoon, I'm going clothes shopping with my two daughters. always a joy, but my youngest daughter being 13, she can't go and do it herself. So we're making sure that they've got everything they need ready for their holidays. We're going to Verona. So I don't always have a big selection of clothes for Alice here, so we tend to top it up when we're about to go on holiday. And we're going away for 8 days this time, so we've got to make sure that that we've got enough clothes to cover that week. The one good thing about going to somewhere like Italy is it's not like you need lots of layers and to wrap up. It's going to be nice and warm, and t-shirt and you're done. Maybe something for the evening. And what I do with the kids is I say to them, right, you put that on in the evening, clean, we go out, get something to eat, get a meal, go for a walk, whatever. It's a lot cooler then, so it's not getting sweaty and stuff. And then that becomes what you can wear the following day. So it does an evening, then a day, it just makes things last a bit longer. Anyway, you don't need to know all that. How many tangents have we done already today? So yeah, that's my sort of Saturday morning, and then Saturday afternoon tends to be chores. I like to get them out of the way Saturday, so Sunday's a bit more free. Doesn't always work that way. So Sunday morning is my official modelling time. Everyone knows that unless the house is burning down, I'm not to be disturbed on a Sunday morning. Whereas Saturday's unofficial. I'm just doing it because everyone else is having a lie-in. So it sort of works. So yeah, that's my Saturday. I kick it off with a cup of tea and then we get going. And Sunday is pretty much the same routine. Now what's happening is Saturday is the start of my build week for each subject. So I should have been doing Elizabethan this week, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But there you go. That's my Saturday. And last Saturday, what we did in the afternoon is we did some stuff in the garden. And I said the garden would be coming back, so we'll be talking about that later on as well. Right then, without further ado, let's talk about what happened last week. That was a good segue. Sometimes I come across almost professional. So Monday went as expected, but not for the reasons that I thought. The number of people I blocked on Monday was greater than the number of people I've blocked all year so far. Because we had first impressions of Soviet era missile launch boat, whatever you want to call it. And because it was originally designed as a torpedo boat, and I made it very, very clear at the start of the video that it was designed as a torpedo boat, and then before the designs were completed, it was changed to a missile boat. Somebody who wasn't listening to the video properly decided to correct me and say, it's not a torpedo boat, it's a missile boat. Listen to the video. Listen to the video. I don't know much about it, but I did do a tiny bit of research before I got going, so I could comment one or two things. Other ships that I know a lot about, I'll just do it off my head. If I don't know anything about it, I'll do a quick sort of Wikipedia type look. Not just Wikipedia, but I'll have a look at a couple of websites, see if there's anything interesting, and throw it in. So, I might not know what I'm talking about, but the basics will be right. Anyway, the number of people that I had to block, and none of it was because the subject was Russian, which was what I was a bit concerned about. But actually, it was just people being prats. Needless, I had yet again, I've blocked someone because they said me saying was distracting. Well, quite frankly, my friend, your lack of tolerance is your problem, not my problem. Blocked. So yeah, I can't remember how many I blocked, but I know I was keeping my eye on it because I was worried about it. And no one commented on the fact that I shouldn't be showing something that's Russian, so that's all good. And again, a big thanks to Dom, who lent me the kit, actually at Telford. That's how long ago I recorded it. And then he lives not that far away from where I work, actually. And so I was able to drop that off one day when I'd been at work. So usually when I'm at work and I finish work, I go straight over to the school, pick my daughter up. On this occasion, I picked my daughter up and then went back through Widnes. I'd normally go through Warrington, get onto the M6, peg it up to Leyland. At the moment, that's a nightmare. The roadworks in Warrington are absolutely horrendous. But there's also roadworks between Moore, where I'm picking my daughter up, and getting to the M56. So I'm having to navigate between those two to get onto the M56 further up, so that I can then get onto the M6 further up and avoid Warrington, because it's a complete car park from about 3:30 onwards, or 3 o'clock maybe even. So yeah, it's just a bit of a nightmare. I'm not quite sure where I was going with that, but on the particular day, I went back through Widnes, and it was absolutely belting down, and yeah, I remember it clearly, but it was good. So Dom lent me the kit for the purposes of review. He wanted my thoughts on it. He was very keen to get my thoughts on it. It's not a subject matter I know much about. Russian ships I know not a great deal about, to be honest. Never something that's captured my imagination for some reason. Anyway, nice first impressions. Not a bad little kit. There isn't much. There's no specific aftermarket stuff, but there is some generic aftermarket you might be able to use if you look around in that scale. Don't know. But yeah, that was Monday. So if you didn't see that, go and catch it. It's done quite well. Been quite a popular video. Then Wednesday saw part 15 of the Sherborne. We'll talk more about her a little later. But yeah, those videos are doing quite nicely. On the day of release, they always do sort of a good average viewing, what I'd expect for first impressions or something like that, depending on the subject matter. And then during the course of the week, it grows up and grows up. So it's interesting. Wooden modelling tends to behave different than plastic modelling. Obviously, there's a lot more people following plastic modelling videos. I think it's about more people finding it. And if you remember what I was saying a few weeks ago about only 20% of the people that view the videos are actually subscribers, it's what it's saying is your video's got to work harder to find its viewers when it's a wooden subject, if that makes sense, which I'm sure it does. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how the Sherborne series is going. I know there's one or two people who are planning to build all four of the complete beginners builds, which is really exciting for me, because it means that people have bought in to this and enjoying this, and have got a new string to their bow in the terms of modelling. And I'm actually really excited for the next build, because what we've done with Sherborne is we've built the thing out of the box. So what the manufacturer's given you to build the bare bones. What we're going to do in the next build is we're going to go, right, okay, the model is actually the start point of your build, and we're going to mess around with stains and finishes and adding things on and doing things differently, and being able to express yourself a little bit. And of course, a commercial boat like a fishing boat lends itself to so much more, because military ships are well maintained and what have you, and you see all these and you think, well, their museum condition. Well, actually, no, the operating condition. You know, they're well-maintained ships, so they had carpenters on board. They were constantly looking after their vessels. So, yeah, it's about a little bit more expression and a bit more wriggle room. So we're going to explore that in the second one, which sets you up well for the thought process on the next build and so on. Anyway, we digress yet again. So yeah, that was Wednesday, and then on Friday you had Elizabethan 2, which I just uploaded this morning. So I've just got to do a thumbnail for that and set the video parameters up, but it is uploaded. So I know you've got Elizabethan 2, and it was because I knew I had enough material that I decided to change my week. So next week we'll hop back on Elizabethan because this week we did other things. And yeah, that was your week, and that gets you back to where you are now. Right then, so let's talk about what happened on the bench, as we've already sort of started talking about it. So on the bench this week we've progressed 2 builds. The Elizabethan has proved a little bit challenging, not as in it's challenging to build, but it's challenging me because there's so much cleanup and modification and what have you. And it's not that I'm not enjoying it, but you get to a point where you go, oh, I'm just a bit fed up of that now. I could do with a break. So we had a break week and I hopped back onto Sherborne. And unfortunately, you're seeing me part way through the week. So you're seeing what I did Saturday, Sunday, but not what I've done in the week, because my modelling night will actually be Thursday night this week. So, but I can talk you through it. So with Sherborne, you will see we did the bowsprit. So if I pick this up, you can see bowsprit is on and actually glued into place. So there you go, she's on and ready to go, and looks fabulous. The mast is now secured into place. The yards are not, so they look crooked because they are just hanging on. The top 2 are hanging on by the little pin that we've created to mount them on, and the bottom one is hanging on by a spot of blue tack. So, but they are going to go on this. The plan for the rest of this week is to get the yards attached, lash them on, and then add the blocks and things. And that was my goal for the end of this week, to have all of that done. So the only thing left to do then, is rig it, build up the anchors, and put on the little doors on the front gun put there. That's all that's left. I say all, but that's going to be a bigger job than you think, especially for newcomers. The most difficult thing left to do is the shrouds, if you've not done them before. There's different ways of doing it. I do a way that's not uncommon, using paper to map it out, and then I use something a bit like a weaver's loom. So you know how a loom has a shuttle which goes over a thread, under a thread, over a thread, under the thread, and shoots across and lays the thread. And if you've ever been to some like a cotton spinning mill or something like that, the one at Style is brilliant. You can see these shuttles going backwards and forwards. That was my inspiration for how I do my shrouds. But using a needle. So using a needle as a shuttle, what you can do is go across, make a big loop, thread your needle through, pull it tight, but not too tight. Go to the end, nip it off, tie the next one on, shuttle through, And it allows you to, and then when you've done it, you just adjust it onto the paper on the background, which is showing you where it should be. Get it lined up, dab a glue, job done. God, it sounds so easy when I say it like that. I mean, we're talking hours, but it sounds so easy. But it's so much easier than fiddling around tying individual knots on each one. But we still have the authentic knots done correctly and all that. It's just I think, a slightly faster way of doing it. So I'll show you that come the time. So yeah, shrouds is probably the most difficult bit to do in terms of the rigging. The rest of it is just making sure you're following the plan and terminate it in the right place and what have you. And you know, if you're good with chopsticks, you'll be great because you're using tweezers and instead of fingers, because you need longer fingers than you've actually got. And you know, fishing out threads and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the rigging because it's been a little while since I've done rigging, to be honest. I don't think I've done any, I haven't done any wooden ship rigging for about 6-7 years, something like that. So I'm actually really excited to be doing the rigging because I love doing rigging. It's a bit like on plastic models. I love doing decals. Everyone hates them. I love them. I quite like doing the rigging. Anyway, that's what we've done mainly on the bench. In and amongst that, we've done some work on our royal barge. He says, gingerly. So we have finished the hull now. So we've done the wood graining, we've tinted it, we've varnished it, and I'm really happy with it. And we are test fitting the wood components. I'm going to hold this very, very carefully. You can see wood components being tested. None of the wood components have fitted. You can't just cut them out and place them in. All of them have needed, we have a term up north called fettling. They've all needed a bit of fettling to fit. It's not an issue with things like the little straight planks. You're just cutting them to length. But some of them needed a little bit of a chamfer because you've obviously got that sort of internal shape that you want them to fit to. So for them to be snug, there's a bit of chamfering to go on. Some of them have got a shape near the bow, which means they're not level, so you've got to do that. The actual seat at the back was quite a bit off. That needs quite a bit of trimming down to fit, otherwise it pops up in the middle. It's quite thin, so there's a risk of breaking it. And I'm noticing that even though I think I've sorted it, it appears to still be bubbling up a little bit. So we'll have to do a little bit more work on that. Yeah. So I've got all sorts of thoughts. I mean, these... let's see if I can get one out. These actually look really nice, just left as they are. I had planned to stain them, but I'm now thinking I won't. So I might stain the lower deck. Don't know. I don't know. Oh, the other thing we've done, if I just drop her off a stand, is we've painted up the transom at the back, royal red. Royal red being Humbrel 19 gloss. So yeah. We got a combination of enamels and acrylics on there, well, and oils as well. So there's all sorts on that so far. But yeah, the plan is to have one video showing the whole build of the royal barge, even if that's feature length. But we will see, because I'm not going into detail on it. I have done on the painting of the hull because members requested that I do that, and I sort of intended to anyway. And we might do a little bit more detail on one or two other things. So I don't know how long that video will be, but it's sort of bite-sized chunks so far. But it's looking really good. I'm very, very happy with it. So that was what we got up to on the bench. So next week on the bench, like I say, we'll be back on the Elizabethan. There she is. And a bit more Royal Barge in between. Right then, so what's next? Stash ads. Well, I don't have any stash ads, although I have had a message from Airfix today, and I'm just gonna check my message. Albion 3 Fuller pre-order has arrived at our warehouse and will shortly be prepared for dispatch. So we'll be talking about that next week. But I do have a little announcement. Members already know this because we talked about it in the social group. But a company, and let me make sure that I pronounce them right, Agora Models have reached out to me. They are launching their very first ever in-house designed wooden ship model kit. They've never done a wooden ship of any nature before, but they design their own models, high-end models. So they've done things like cars, so you can get the 007 DB5 for example, and it's like that big, and all the doors work, and they use quality materials, and you get them in packs, a bit like a Park Work, although they distance themselves from Park Works pretty much. So most Park Work companies are actually magazine companies looking for something that might sell the magazine. So in the case of D'Agostini, who I've done work for in the past and parted company with for a number of reasons, what they do is they try and dumb down the kit and make it as cheap as possible because they actually want to sell the magazine. Whereas this company is doing it very differently. They're not a Park Work company. They're selling you a high-end model and you get it in packs. So it's designed as an 11-pack kit of the USS Constitution, which will be released in April. And they reached out to me and said, would I be interested in reviewing and building? So there was a bit of backwards and forwards because I go, well, listen, this, first of all, this isn't a job, it's a hobby. So my build might be fairly slow burn because I have other commitments. And secondly, I want to retain the right to say whatever I like about the kit. And they're more than happy with that. So they've worked with a number of social media channels with their other kits. They're well versed in it. I just set out my stall right at the start these days, rather than going, I'm interested, and then go, well, hang on a minute, I've got to be able to say what I say, and I'll just set my stall out and go, yeah, it's on my terms. They were more than happy to do that, which is great. That means they're confident in their product, and they're confident that they're not going to send it to me and I'm going to go, what's this junk? You know what I mean? Which still could happen. I've not seen the parts yet. But what's interesting about it this time is they've designed it all themselves. They've used some very high quality materials. Got mixed feelings about that because that can run, it can look spectacular, but it can also run the cost up. But more importantly, using high quality materials for some parts of it can actually make it more difficult to build. So, you know, do we really want a mahogany mast, for example? What's not clear to me is how much woodworking we're going to have to do and how much is part assembly. Well, what's interesting is you can build it showing the hull ribs, and the hull ribs are made out of oak. So, you know, you build the ribs up so it's not bulkheads like this is, where you've got a solid bulkhead. You've got a rib and then you're planking onto the rib. like the actual ship construction. I mean, it's still a dumbed down version. You've not got all the ribs and all the bits that go in between, but you have got the ribs, and it looks nice. And I'm going to build it that way, partly for speed and partly because I think it will look nice. So yeah, I'm interested to see, like, you know, a mahogany mast. Will that already be shaped for you, or are you having to do the shaping? So what they said to me was they'd be interested in me building it and sharing any hints and tips along the way. So that's what we'll do. It'll very much be a backburn as and when I can fit it in, because my priority is what I've said I'm building, which is these the next Vanguard kits, 3 Vanguard kits after this. So it'll be interesting. So I'm waiting for this pack to arrive. So that would have been my stash ad. I thought it might come because she said she had it on her desk and she was going to send it to me, and then I'll get the other packs sent over to me through the normal distribution. So it'll be interesting to see what the packing is like, how it comes, access to instructions. I haven't seen instructions yet. I've seen a sample because there's some on the website. So I will leave a link for those of you that might be interested below. I know people are going to comment about the price. It is an expensive model, but I can't say anything about whether that cost is justifiable or not until I've seen the materials, seen the quality, seen the instructions, and made my own mind up whether it's value for money or not, or it's just money for old rope. Yet to be seen. But yeah, that is what sort of happened in Stash Ads. So I've got a collaboration going with Agora. If they're happy with what I do, then they're planning to do other wooden kits in the future, and no doubt they'll all come this way. If I do think it's pants, and we did finish it, and they're still wanted to do the next one, but I thought it was pants, then I'll probably decline and say, you know what, I'd rather not. And to be honest, if I think it is not value for money, I will say, sorry, I can't support this, and stop it in its water. So all to be seen. But I'm hoping that it's a new company making new wooden ships, doing it slightly differently, and it'll be all good for both you guys and the channel. Yet to be seen, but I'm looking forward to finding out. Right then, that was Stash Ads. So let's talk about, is it news next? I should know, 3 years in, I should know. Right then, news. The big breaking news is that Gaahleri have released what their 3rd kit release will be, which it's actually the most desirable model they've produced to date. It's a Mark 1 Hurricane, continuing their sort of Battle of Britain startup. And you get the feeling that they've sort of picked up where Wingnut Wings left off. Because if you think about it, as Wingnut Wings shut its doors because it was no longer being supported by the New Zealand government. So for those of you that perhaps don't know, very, very briefly, Wingnut Wings was trading very, very well, but it was being subsidised by the New Zealand government on the basis that they were a New Zealand manufacturer. And when the government found out that, this is my understanding, when the government found out that the kits were actually being made in China, they said, well, we're not going to subsidise you anymore. And the company was no longer profitable, and so they had to stop trading. But right at that back end, they were working on a couple of kits. Now, very famously, Meng bought the tooling for one, which was almost ready for release, which was the Fokker triplane. And then there was the 132 scale Lancaster bomber. Now, if you think about it, Lancaster Bomber was completely out of character for Wingnut Wings. Everything else was First World War. So now you're in a position where you're going, right, would Wingnut Wings have actually followed the Lancaster Bomber with the Mark 1 Spitfire, and then a 109, and then a Mark 1 Hurricane? I sort of think that maybe that's what they were doing. They were planning to venture into Second World War a little bit and start off with Battle of Britain. Interesting that they've not chosen to branch out and do a Mustang or a Zero or something like that. I thought they might take the opportunity to go round the main sort of aggressors and go, right, we've done a British one, now we've done a German one, so we want to be going to Germany or to Russia or the US or Japan, but they've gone back to Britain. Now, I say it's the most desirable of the three because there's much fewer in the way of large-scale Hurricanes knocking around. But I've built Hurricanes several times in different scales, and as much as I love them, I actually prefer them to Spitfires. I don't want to build a 132 Hurricane, really. You know, there's so many options out there. There's so many things that haven't been done. You know, they could have taken us by storm with an interwar aircraft. They could have taken us by storm with a French World War II fighter. You know, nobody ever does them. Why not? You know, France was in the war before it wasn't, and they had fighters before they didn't. You know, let's do some of that. And you know, it's nice to see that we've got some Polish aircraft that have come out in plastic in recent years, but it's taken a Polish manufacturer to do it. So it's just a little bit sort of not quite disappointing, but disappointing. And of course it won't have an engine, and I'm not buying a 132 scale aircraft that doesn't have an engine, not at that price. So yeah, so it's the third release from Kotai that I won't be buying. I have been offered to review a Kotai model kit by one of my subscribers, and I may well take them up on that later on, but I've got so much backlog of first impressions that I don't need to worry about it just yet. But I know someone's got the 109 on order, and I think that's due for release imminently. So that's the main thing in modelling news. In other news, we spent a little bit of time in the garden. So we did some planting, we got some vegetables in, we tidied things up, tidied my herbs up. So let's have a look at that. So, garden update. Pot prepared for runner beans, but we don't need to do them until next month. Tidied up the herbs, planted some onions, not much space, but I had them, so I might as well use them. Tidied up my herbs there. We've got ginger and garlic planted there. On this side we've got shallots. Behind the cane we've left space for tomato plants to go in, and I've also got asparagus in there. Then in here we've got chard and spinach. Rhubarb's coming along nicely. You can see we've got a fair few strawberry plants dotted around, and one thing we put in last year was gooseberries, or it might have been the year before. We didn't get any last year, but I think you get fruit every other year, so we will see. Lavender's doing great, and yeah, you can see some things are starting to bud, so there you go. We haven't finished tidying up yet from the winter, so not done this bit yet. So there you go, that's the garden kicked off, and it's been a bit frosty this week, so we will We will have to see, but everything's well buried, should be well protected. I'm not expecting any issues. We've still got tomato plants to do, and runner beans. Runner beans will be April. Tomato plants might be May. We will see. Right then, what is coming up next week? Let's have a quick look. Monday we've got a tool review. I might swap that for a first impressions, because at the moment what's happening is we've got first impressions and then a build one week, and then the following week we've got tool and tool. So I'd rather do tool and a first impressions, and then tool and a build. So we've got something a bit more meaty, because tool videos tend to be a bit shorter. So we've got a shorter video, longer video, then the build video, then the table talk, and do it that way. So yeah, actually tomorrow we've got a group build update, so don't miss that. And be prepared to tell me where you're up to with your 2 group builds that you're engaged in. So we won't talk about it here, we'll talk about that tomorrow. Then we've got a tool which I'm going to change and swap till the following week. So a first impressions of a tank then is what we'll do on Monday. And then on Wednesday we've got a tool review for those of you that build wooden model ships. And you have actually seen me use the tool now in the Sherborne video, but we'll do a little tool review there. And then Friday should be Elizabethan 3. If I've not got enough content, I think I have. If I've not, then we might chuck a barge out or something like that. I have said I'd do a live stream if I'm struggling, but I don't think I need to at this stage. So that is what's coming up next week. That takes you up to next week's table talk. We know we've got another kit on the way. We might have this first pack of the wooden stuff coming, so we've got some bits and pieces coming along, and hopefully we'll be able to show you next week that all of the woodwork is done, and we might even have some threads on her, which will be nice. So I think that's it for this week. I did want to say thank you to everyone. I've had a little what's the term? Buy-in increase. Don't know. People have started buying some of my merchandise. So I've sold some t-shirts, some stickers, a mouse mat. After I said I didn't design the mouse mat, I don't know why that's there. Someone's bought a mouse mat. Brilliant. My daughters actually bought me, I've not got it here, they bought me a model kit stuff mouse mat. They took an image of my Gota propeller. Those of you in the social group will know the picture, because we use it as the welcome picture when people join. There's an automated message that says, hello, welcome to the social group, meet your admin team, and it has a picture on it, and it's an automated message. And that picture's been used as a mouse mat for me for, I think it was a Christmas present last year. So, you know, people do use mouse mats, obviously. But it's been nice to see that some people have been buying some t-shirts, some people who are social club members, but not only, which is nice. So I'll be able to spot people that are subscribers when I'm at Telford by the t-shirts, hopefully, which will be nice. There is still a plan to have a bit of a social gathering after the Telford Saturday night. We found a pub relatively close. I'm not booking tables or anything, we're just going to invade it and overrun it and what have you, and leave people to organise themselves for food and stuff. It's just turn up for a drink and a chat and what have you. So nice and leisurely. But yeah, social group is bubbling along nicely. We've had some new members recently, and everyone seems to be enjoying the social group. I'm not in there as much as I'd like to be. It's been quite busy. Plus, I've been under the weather. Last week I said I was dodging it. I've had a sore throat this week. Had an eye infection this week that I'm taking eye drops for. So I've got all that sort of stuff going on, and I've been quite busy with one or two other things as well. So one way or another, I haven't managed to get into the social group as much as I'd like. But what I would say is, if you're a member and you make a comment, then you get priority on responses. And in the social group on the Facebook page, I make a point of going through all the posts. Even if I'm a day or two late, I make a point of going through all the posts. So if you've got questions for me and things like that, I will always prioritise answering the members first. It's a benefit of being a paid member. This week, this month coming in April, the giveaway, we've given away a couple of airbrushes in the social group. We're giving away a fairly recently tooled ICM model kit that we reviewed on the channel. So that's what we're giving away coming up in April. So like I said, I've got some items of the stash I want to get rid of, and as they're paid for by the channel, I can afford to give them away. I mean, I could put them on eBay and get some money back, and some of them we will, but others we'll give away. And rather than, you know, giving away the Airfix Seafire in a battered box, I could give that away. We'll chuck that on eBay, and you know, the 2024 tooled ICM kit, that can go to the members. So yeah, everything's ticking along lovely. I'm getting lots of support, and I really appreciate it. But if you're building the Sherborne, I meant to say this earlier, if you're building the Sherborne and you're not a member, let me know. Let me know how you're getting on with it. You know, leave a comment. Let me know how you're progressing, whether you're enjoying it, and so on, because I only get to see those members. We've got a little rump of members who are interested in wooden kits, and it's nice to see their progress. And I've got to be honest, there are people who have never made a wooden ship before, who have started following my build and my videos and have started putting it together, and I'm seeing some beautiful work. There's some naturally gifted modelers out there, and some of them are members of my social group, I have to say. It's really nice to see people building different stuff. We've got different scales, people with interests in different subjects. So Star Trek, 1/72 scale, aircraft, plastic ships, wooden ships, dioramas, all sorts of stuff going on, and it's all different, and it's really nice to see. Now, the last thing that I want to say is I haven't done this for a little while, and we do this occasionally, and one of my subscribers dropped me an email saying, you've not done this for a little while and maybe we should do it again, and I completely agree with you. So some of my team, my moderators and admins, also have YouTube channels. So I'm going to leave a link down below, and if I forget to do it, it has happened before, someone just dropped me a message and say, oi, you forgot to do that, and then I'll put it back on. But Jeff Donahue's modelling channel, long-term subscriber and friend of the channel, and we've done live streams together. We've got quite a long-standing plan to do a buddy build, which we don't keep getting round to, and I have to hold my hands up and say that's down to me, not down to Jeff. Jeff's ready to go at any time. It's down to my busy schedule. But not the next time or the time after we're doing vehicles, but the time after that, I plan to speak to Jeff and say, right, are we ready to do this buddy build? But Jeff Donahue's modelling channel, I want to see him get to 2,000 subscribers. Let's do it. Go and have a look at his channel. He does some great work. He's doing all sorts of stuff. His builds are beautiful, and he goes through them in detail, and he's one of the nicest guys in the hobby. So go and check his channel out. Go and hit subscribe. It costs you nothing. Give him a bit of support and love. The channel should be bigger than it is, and he's had a bit of a quiet period on putting content out, and your channel grows due to putting volume out, really, is the answer. And he's had a bit of a quiet period for one or two reasons. But he's also building the Sherborne as well. So yeah, go and check his channel out and give Jeff some love, because he's got a great little channel there and he's doing some lovely builds, especially if you like your vehicles, trucks and stuff like that, military vehicles, then you'll love Jeff's channel. Also, another admin, moderator I should say, is To Boldly Go Modelworks. James, many of you will know him from, he does a number of live streams. He's a bit of a live stream pro, and you see him on quite a few live streams, but he also on his own channel puts out updates on his models. They're short, they're snappy, so they're not long-winded epics like I do, but they're to the point. You see his progress. He talks about the model, whether he's had fit issues and how he's resolved things and stuff. Again, it's a totally different vibe, but really nice, and certainly suits some people more who like the short, snappy stuff. Then you'll love it. So again, James's channel is To Boldly Go Modelworks. Go and check that out. So there you go. A couple of shout outs for people in my team. My moderators and admins, they put a lot of effort in to making sure everything's running on the Facebook page when I'm not there, the social group, and also on the channel when we're doing builds and stuff. They keep the chat going and they make sure that people are remembering to hit the like button, which helps the channel, and police people for disobedience. Not that we ever really get any. It's a nice little community we've got here, and I'm very proud that most people, most of the time, are very well behaved. And it tends to be people that have come to the channel for the first time that are the people that misbehave, and you don't see them again because I block them. And we don't have to listen to their stuff anymore. So it remains a lovely little community, and that community is created by you, not by me. I just put the content out. The rest of it's all your own work. So thank you very much. Have a great week. You enjoy your modelling. That's the most important thing. And I will see you very soon. I'll see you tomorrow when we talk group builds. But I'll see you throughout the week with all sorts of stuff. And until next time, bye for now.